online life, visit cybertipline.com.
And we're back, and again, we thank you for staying tuned. We're talking to Pastor Smith, and I know he has some information. You wasn't here. You really wasn't here.
Okay, but what happened?
Last week, we thank God for you for putting D.A.P Ministry show on YouTube. So you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, because my wife loves it. She calls me a nerd because I'm technologically in tune. I'm digital.
So that makes you a nerd?
Well, she's analog. Yeah, I'm digital. Yeah. Oh, I don't mind saying it. Yeah, she will admit she's analog. She will write it down on a piece of paper, like that. But I will put it in my phone. I put it in some kind of way. I have it in a digital form and everything. But no, the reason why I'm saying that is because I recently discovered that I could, download or upload videos of the show onto YouTube. So I spent a couple of days doing that, and we still have a lot of shows. We have like 6 or 7 right now on YouTube. I have a page on YouTube, DK Smith 504. But if you could look under the title or look under search, D.A.P TV Ministries, D.A.P Ministries TV show, then you can find it. I think I got it as D.A.P. And then Ministries TV shows, yeah, and then you can see it. Or you can see it on the DK Smith or something like that. But and we've got a few shows up on there, like the show from last week with with Minister
Nigel Johnson.
Yeah. So we have those, and we have some back with Clyde R. Jones talking about
that scary stuff.
No, it wasn't that scary. It was a play.
It was talking about a play.
It was a play. Ain't no sunshine when he's home.
Yeah.
Nicole Masters, who's an author. We have Donetta Mahaffey. She's on, and so we have a couple of Sister Barbara Hunter and Reverend Lee Jackson, I believe his name is, and when they sung and everything. And then we have Patricia McKelvin, talking about crowns, Not only do I wear a hat, I wear it well. Thank you very much. Yeah. And the young man who's sung and the lady was playing.
Wilbert,
yeah. Wilbur Walker, yeah.
And Miss Dolio.
Yeah, playing the saxophone and everything. So those brought back memories of all, the things that we've done. So if you go to YouTube, search under D.A.P Ministries TV show, and you'll find a bunch of them and everything. So we're going to put them as many more as we can on it. And I, like I said, that's digital, so that's a good way to keep it online. That's a good way to keep the show going, because if you think about it, from tape, when we come from tape to
transferring
to digital to CDs, whatever like that, and now most things are going to be in the digital form anyway. So I just try to keep up with the times.
Keep up with technology.
Keep up with technology, you know. And I say that with all respect, say my wife is analog, but she is, she got an iPhone about last year, so it's just like that was when she told me she got that. It's just like, whoa, she's got a smartphone, She had a flip phone for the longest, and so it's like when she went to get another one because it was broken and everything.
And they had to upgrade her.
Yeah, they upgraded her, and I think it was like 99 cents, whatever like that. The flip phone was $99. Well, I'll take the smartphone. Hey, that's smart, that's a smart thing. 99 cents or $99, which one you gonna take,
99 cents.
99 cents. So she's in the digital age, and she's still learning, but that's okay,
You're going to help her. I know you're going to walk with her.
Please. Can you look up this number for me?
Also, I think I mentioned to you the importance of what Union Baptist Theological Seminary students are doing.
Tell me more.
Well, one of the churches have opened their doors that they can go every third Sunday as Greater Asia on St. Bernard, right at Sear Street.
Okay, yeah, I know it's that.
They're at 6 o'clock every third Sunday, and they allow some of the students from the seminary to have opportunities to preach.
Okay, good.
And so this third Sunday, there will be an opportunity, and probably I'll check with the coordinator, Brother White, and Minister White. I'll check with him to find out who's on the lineup and I'll tell the audience so they can go and support the young ministers as well as the school.
That's good. That's good. And it's always, I guess we'll say it's always good to be hungry for the ministry. Because that's if the Lord called you. I have to emphasize if, because I know when the Lord called me, I did I would say the common thing. I denied it and I ran. I was like, no, I was just in denial. But until I realized it, and I emphasize this, that a calling is something that you can't run away from. I tried to run away. I went to Houston, Texas, trying to run away from my call. I said, I'll go to the seminary in Houston, and I go to the church in Houston. No one knows me and everything.
So how you get way from New Orleans to Houston? You sound like Jonah. What happened?
Well, the Lord had me to come back to New Orleans. My sister was living in Houston at the time, and that's why I put it like this: January 17, 1977. I remember that date. January 17, 1977. That's when I yielded to the call. The Lord had called me a couple of years or so before, but I didn't know what it was all about and everything. I didn't want to be a preacher. I didn't want to, like that. I was talking about him,
You egged on preachers.
Oh, that look. I used to tell the joke, and I shouldn't say it like this as a joke, but back. Now I'm telling my age now. Back in the day, when people used to have S&H stamps, S&H green stamps,
That's right, I know it.
S&H green stamps. I remember the people had would write on the wall, Jesus saves, and I put behind that, Jesus saves, S&H green stamps,
Terrible.
I know it's a bad thing to do, but out of that, think about it, the Lord blessed me to say, to proclaim that Jesus saves, I was a bad little boy when I was young growing up. That's why I said I went to Houston, because I knew nobody was going to believe me. It's like...
Locally.
Yeah, locally. But he brought me back. And when he brought me back, I had to... I thank God for Reverend Francis. John Francis was the pastor at the time. That, he trained me. He taught me. I sat on the deacon's bench. I went to the seminary. And not until I completed the seminary was I ordained. I need to say that again.
You need to say that again.
I'm going to say that again. Not until I completed the seminary did Reverend Francis even consider me for being ordained. I say that to young ministers. I say that to someone who's called. Get the first calling is preparation. If God called you, He'll prepare you. Get your seminary training, get your training, and then your pastor will be... well,
the Lord moves on to Pastor Hall.
The Lord moves to Pastor Hall like that.
The whole thing is commitment and learning.
Right.
Jesus say, number one, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Mm-hmm. And so that's a requirement of every believer to learn about their Lord, learn about their master, learn about their Savior. Mm-hmm. And if you don't learn, then you don't know not only responsibilities, obligation, promises, and all those commitments that God has given to us, you don't know your relationship. And that's the whole thing that God is giving to us, a relationship.
I'm really going back. I'm remembering now, and this is sort of good to reflect and think back. When I did go to some Union Baptist, I went to Union, and Dr. McCaleb, he taught me psychology. He was in my homiletics. He was doing homiletics, and I remember when I had to read a chapter. He said, "Schmidt, you read this chapter," and it was about the order of the church and everything, and it talked about how the pastor was doing one thing, and then the pastor told the minister to find out from the choir director what's the meter, And I read it, and I said, and the pastor said to the minister, asked the choir director, "What's the matter?" He said, "What'd you say, Smith?" I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "No, read that again." And I saw that it was the word meter. I didn't know what a meter was.
You hadn't been to church long
I hadn't been to church.
But I said, "What's the matter?"
I said, "What's the matter?" And I'm saying that to say that really shows my naivety, how naive I was, but how the fact that when the Lord called me, I had to trust Him.
So it was a transition for you.
It was a transition. Mm-hmm. I mean, from me being not necessarily a novice, but being naive to what the church, I said, "What's the matter?"
What's the matter?
And he said, "No, Smith, let's read it again." I said, "What's the meter?" I said,
"What's a meter?"
I didn't even know what a meter was. But I was in seminary, and I'm saying the Lord called me, but I didn't even know what a meter was. But again, that shows the innocence that I had.
Were you first year seminarian?
That was my first year.
And so,
yeah, there was a whole lot of things I learned. You know?
that's what I'm saying. So that shows your mind was open to receive, and you didn't say, it's.
I argued with the man. I said, "What's the matter?"
He said, "It matter. I'm telling you, it matter."
You know what?
Then you focus, huh?
Yeah, it did say meeting and everything. But one thing, and I share this, well, we still have time. Dr. McCaleb said to me, there are three things, especially in the ministry that you work with. He said, things, people, and God. He said, things are supposed to be used. People are supposed to be loved, and you serve God, you know. But instead of using things and loving people, people love things and use people. And instead of serving God, we want God to serve us.
Well, you got a little serving going on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, those three things.
So that's the basic
people,
fundamental you learned from Dr. McCaleb.
Right.
Yeah, that's
things,
pretty awesome.
People, and God. Things are supposed to be used. People are supposed to be loved. And God is supposed to be served. But I emphasize supposed to be, because we know that sometimes when the Lord blesses us, I got a new car, and if you want to ride in it, you're gonna have to give me some gas money. You know, that's loving a thing and using people. You know,
and not
serving God. So no, things are supposed to be used. People love, and God you serve. Okay. And that is the sermon for today.
What is taking place? Anything else taking place? Because I mentioned earlier about Gentilly Fest that's taking place.
Yeah.
Starting today at 6 o'clock. Some headliners, Kermit Ruffin, what is it, the Hot Brass Band.
Yeah, now, of course, when we talk about that, I remember a couple of years ago, I went out there.
Food,
yeah.
Food.
They had the food, they had the tent,
yeah.
They had the music.
Crafts.
Yeah, the crafts and everything.
All of that's going to be taking place.
So I'm going to have to get there early.
You should get there early. 6 o'clock, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Gentilly Fest is becoming very, very popular. And invite, all the citizens to come on out.
I have pictures from a couple of years ago.
Why don't you do that like you did last year, and when you go take some pictures and we can show some on the show.
Work. Okay.
Again, we thank God for our viewing audience. We thank God. Keep communicating with us. You can communicate with us on the web now. Pastor Smith has the email information, has YouTube up and running. So definitely you can communicate with us from telephone. Any way you need to communicate, you can communicate with us. We say to our viewing audience, go to a church of your choice and worship the Lord. We always invite you to come on out to True Love Missionary Baptist Church, 2710 Phillip Street. Worship time is at 8 a.m. in the morning. And the Lord is blessing. I'll be coming back to you and tell you some other activities that will be taking place, not only this month, but in the month of November and December, to close out the whole year. Again, we just ask God's choices, blessings upon you. God be with you and God keep you. That's our prayer.